Looking back at the main storylines from last season, there were questions like, is John Gibson getting traded? Where's Zegras going? Well, I've got those answers and more on this episode of Locked On Anaheim Ducks.
You're Locked On Ducks, your daily podcast on the Anaheim Ducks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome, everyday. Thank you for making Locked On Anaheim Ducks your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. I'm Kyle Kjer. I'm a lifelong Anaheim Ducks fan, and I've spent multiple years covering collegiate sports, including college hockey. But today, we're talking Anaheim Ducks, and we're going to review some of the main storylines that came about during the last season and just kind of rehashing them and looking at how things stand now. One of the first ones we'll get into is Trevor Zegras. That was a huge talking point throughout the season. Where is Trevor Zegras going to go? Is he staying? Is he getting traded? There were so many rumor mills about that. And then, of course, John Gibson. He also is woed down with the trade rumor mill. And there was so many questions around where he would go. And then Mason McTavish, basically on a contract year, quote unquote, where he's ending up being an RFA this year. He kind of had to earn himself the big bucks, or is he going to kind of peter out? What was he going to do? So let's take a look at McTavish first and just how things went for him. Well, I'm telling you right now, Mason McTavish will be an Anaheim Duck next season after questions arose on how he would do and if he's going to get a big contract, a bridge contract, or what he's going to do. But I can tell you right now, he will be an Anaheim Duck. There is rumors going around. There's kind of some rumblings coming from some other teams that he may possibly get offer sheeted. I do not see the Ducks not matching if he is offer sheeted. He is a very valuable asset that other teams could use. He's got his big body, his ability to score and put it in the net. He definitely knows how to battle. He's got great hockey IQ. We saw time and time again this season his ability and the way he is on the ice, on the as a teammate, on the bench. Everything that he has done this last season just proved that he deserves to be here. And yeah, he's going to be looked at by other teams. He's kind of that. I mean, who wouldn't want to have a Mason McTavish on their team with his size, his maturity, his goal scoring ability? There's if you listen to Spit and Chicklets recently or their game notes, Mike Grinnell, he was saying, oh, Boston should take him. We would love to have him. It'd be awesome. But I don't see Anaheim letting him slip through the cracks. There's just so many important things that he brings to this team right now. And he's really part of this core that's being built up with Zegras and Dostal. They're like this little crew right now. They're all that same age, just coming up, basically starting the same seasons together. They're playing really good hockey right now. I don't think Verbeek's going to want to break that up. It's just makes zero sense for Anaheim to lose McTavish because they really, honestly, they can't afford that with the amount of effort and development that they've put into him and the way he has been trending upwards in his career, setting career highs in multiple categories this year. There's absolutely no reason to allow him to escape through the fingers. And the Ducks have the cap space to pay. If someone gives them some crazy offer, I don't see that really happening. That realistically, there's not going to be something absurd asked or offered to him. But I definitely can see if it's a little more on the high end or more out of what the Ducks were expecting to give him, I see them matching that. I just cannot fathom a world where Verbeek lets a player like Mason McTavish go. I mean, in my opinion, I think he is absolutely captain material. His calmness, his collectiveness, he can get in the fray when he needs to. but overall, he's pretty much a solid, like, no bars guy. Like, he just kind of goes about, does his business. There were some times this season where I was a little frustrated with his play. I talked about it in a past episodes where it just seemed like he would kind of give up on the back check, or his body language was a little rough. And maybe that's one thing that Verbeek's looking at right now. They're so tight lipped about the contract negotiations and how things are going with McTavish and his crew of agents and everything. But maybe that's one thing he might be talking to him about. Like, you led the team in goals this year, you broke all these career records, but there's some times when it seems like you just kind of give up. You, there's times when your body language is saying that you don't want to be here, or there's times where, I know there's more out of you. What are you going to give me? Granted, now we've got a new coach coming in. Who knows how much of that was just kind of that subconscious, like, like, ugh, like, I'm not, I'm gonna do what I need to for you, coach, for the basics, but I'm not gonna go above and beyond because of whatever conversations that were had. That is absolute speculation. I'm totally making this up. I cannot verify or say that that actually happened, but that's just something that is a possibility of why there were moments where it just seemed like he kind of would lollygag back to the bench, or give like a little bit of effort, but not the full effort. I definitely saw it pick up more towards the end, where he was a lot more active, a lot more engaged. I think that him being paired up with Zegras was definitely a spark to his play, and those two have a lot of chemistry. And if they can keep continuing to build up that energy, that chemistry, that gamemanship, the want and drive to win and be successful, and to understand that you can't phone it in any time. Every game matters, every game's important, and you can't just ease your way into the season. It's got to be day one. They've got to earn it. And he's a player that I see understanding that mentality and really pushing forward to better himself and to better his play, better his attitude, everything, and bringing in this new coach that a lot of the guys reportedly are saying they're excited to play for and work with. There could be a whole nother level of Mason McTavish unleashed. And I don't think Anaheim wants to miss out on that. And even like if they try to pull in some draft picks or whatever to sweeten the deal to get McTavish over, the thing that I was listening to today, and like that's kind of the big question, is do teams want to risk, especially teams that are on that bottom end that are most likely not going to be in the playoffs, they're not going to be at the top of the food chain, if you will. Do they want to risk giving up a potential first overall pick if their first round pick and they don't have a great season? Gavin McKenna, this kid has been lighting it up. Do you risk giving up that potential to have a kid like McKenna added to your roster? And there's a lot of teams I don't think that are going to be willing to budge or move away from their picks to get a player like that. And that's a huge question for a lot of GMs to ask when it comes to this offseason and the free agency, restricted free agency, trades, everything. Once that opens back up in July, and player and coaches can start making, or coaches, GMs can start making trades and getting guys moving, what will they be willing to risk? Are they going to try to pull a Nashville and load up, or are they going to try to save and keep the development and the possibility of getting a Gavin McKenna alive? Again, if anyone does come and offer Mason McTavish, or they offer sheet him, or they try to pull something, I do not see Pat Verbeek being willing to let go of Mason McTavish. I see him absolutely willing to match any type of offer, and it would be the most insane trade or package that would be needed to be given for him to even think about getting rid of him. And Mason McTavish will be an Anaheim Duck next season with a nice either bridge contract long term, most likely bridge, but it's going to be a nice contract and he is going to feel confident and wanted, and it's just going to help him. Another person that's going to be feeling confident and wanted, that has been up and down in the rumor mill, whether or not he's going to be traded, whether or not he wants to be here. That man is John Gibson, and we will cover why he is going to be in Anaheim and he is not going anywhere. Coming up next. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Basketball is one of those sports that it's hard for me to stay in and watch. But if I've got some nice hits on FanDuel or something's looking a little pricey, I'm going to tune in more. I'm going to watch some of those playoffs. And that's what FanDuel does for you. It gets you involved, gets you engaged, and you get to win a couple bucks while you're learning a new sport or you're learning new things. That's what could even be better. So make sure you're headed over to FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to fanduel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Cash money, baby. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. I said it before the break, and I'm going to say it again. John Gibson will be an Anaheim Duck, and he will finish his career as a Duck. I'm absolutely positive that the amount of effort and the amount of energy and all of the things that Gibson has done for this Anaheim Duck squad, that man is not going anywhere. He is locked on as a Duck. No pun intended. He is locked in. He's here. He's ready to go. He is absolutely committed to this team. And there's been rumors and things keep popping up that he's in the trade rumors or he needs to get out of Anaheim. He doesn't want to be in Anaheim. There's this bad blood. I don't know who comes up with these things or where that came from, but it just kind of took off like wildfire that Gibson was done and he's just wants out and all this stuff. But he has confirmed that he wants to stay in Anaheim. He likes it here. He loves it. And the effort, the things that he sacrificed for this team, how could you say he doesn't want to be in Anaheim? He went through the dark days of Ducks hockey. That is what he went through. He sacrificed his statistics, his playing record, everything that he had that was solid. He basically gave that up to maintain a positive environment for this team, to keep backstopping them and try to help them as they went through this change of old school to new school and bringing in the youth and getting rid of the players who were more towards the end of their careers. This transformation, Gibson was there for it all. The last time that the Ducks were in the playoffs, guess who was backstopping the Ducks? John Gibson. When the Ducks first didn't make it into the playoffs, guess who was backstopping the Ducks? John Gibson. Who still keeps helping backstop in the Ducks? John Gibson. This last trade deadline, that was the perfect opportunity for him to get moved out. And Verbeek came out right after the deadline and he said, yes, I know everyone's talking about Gibson. There's rumors, blah, 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 blah. But when it came down to it, why would he need to move him? There's no need to move a player like John Gibson for just whatever, especially at the end of the season. Yeah, you could say, well, now it's the off season. It's totally different. They're they're rebuffing whatever your argument is. Why? Why get rid of John Gibson? There he does so much for the team. The energy he brings into that room. He is so cool, so calm, so collected. But it's been reported by other players. They've spoken out about how just he literally like he is the vibe in that room. He is a player that has a voice, and when he speaks, people listen. He has great leadership qualities. Like you cannot make a goaltender, a captain in the NHL. But if you could, I guarantee John Gibson would have that C with the just the commitment and the energy. Like I know I keep saying the energy because think of like when you're working in a job that is not great. It's not the best job. Things are not going well. And you're kind of the one person that everyone's relying on. And you have to carry the back of your corporate team, or if you're in construction, the guys working around you, or if you're a doctor and your other doctors suck, whatever it is, you I'm sure all of us have been in those moments where we're the one dragging everyone else through the mud and trying to get them through, and everyone's looking to you to do the thing that you need to do. That's been John Gibson for 7 years now. He's been grinding, just trucking, going through. Could imagine how much energy and just patience and mental health that had to drain. Like put yourself in that his shoes. For 7 years you helped backstop a very detrimental team, but you were committed and you loved it and you loved the area. You had faith and belief in the team. And he keeps saying and comes out saying, I have faith, I have belief in this team. I think they're going to do great things. And now seeing this young core really step it up after last season, and now bringing in this new coach and letting Dostal take the net and cover him while he was injured, and being able to have someone mentoring Dostal like John Gibson. And he doesn't seem like a guy that has an ego like that where he's going to be offended if Dostal is taking the net from him. He seems like someone that will absolutely play a 1A, 1B style with someone like Dostal. You see him on the bench. He's always talking to the boys when he's not in. He's got a smile. He's got his baseball hat on. And then when he's in, Dostal's super proud of him. There's a great relationship between those two guys right now. And if they are both locked in and secured as Anaheim Ducks, I can only see that going further. And if the Ducks do get into the playoffs, imagine the effort and the pride that Gibson will have if he has to come in for the Ducks in the playoffs. Being there the last time they were there, going through all the hell and all the dirt and all the just ruckus that he has gone through for this team, and then to be able to be in the postseason again with the team that he stood by and stuck it out with, that amount of pride and greatness that would come out of John Gibson in that postseason would be Disney will be making movies about it if that's the case. I don't see the type of person that John Gibson is and him bowing out or going and being like, no, I don't want this. Like, sorry, you had your chance. I only see it going up from here. And the way that he is as a goalie, and I've talked about it with McTavish. Verbeek cannot afford. He's already said he's not going to. He had his best time to trade Gibson during the trade deadline when his stats were great. He had a really wonderful his goals against average, his save percentage, everything about him was great. But then he kind of got injured there towards at the end of the year. So now there's questions being raised on his health or whatnot. So the amount of assets and the amount of package deal that Verbeek could have gotten at the trade deadline, I feel like is not going to be the same now. And again, why? Why get rid of him? There's no need to. He's a great asset for this team. He will be a great asset for the team, and he's going to be a Duck. His contract's difficult to move because of the price. There's just so much of a headache when it comes to trying to move Gibson. And the amount of non-headache and the amount of solutions that you get by keeping Gibson, just the benefits outweigh the the means. Like it's just there's so much more that you get positive than negative by keeping Gibson. So John Gibson staying in Anaheim, and I see him finishing his career here because he already stuck it out. Why not stick the rest of it out? And you're about to be on the back end of this crazy rise of this young team. Now you got Joel Quenneville. There's just so much for Gibson now. And it's like, all right, you went through it. Now you get the benefit. Now you get to reap the benefits of the work that you put in. And another player that is going to stay here, he's been part of the trade mill, and that's Trevor Zegras. And I'm going to tell you after this little break on exactly why he's going nowhere. Trevor Zegras, he is absolutely 100% locked in, and Pat Verbeek will not be trading him. I am telling you right now, it's been a big storyline for the last couple of seasons, and he keeps popping up, and it just goes back and forward and up and down. But you got to look at the issues that Zegras faced during that time. He had a bad injury. He's had another bad injury. There was just things that were affecting his game. He wasn't playing as well. There was questions on whether or not he liked playing with Akins or if he liked playing with Cronin, and whether or not Cronin was good for him and if he was upset or what was going on. But this end of the season really answered a lot of questions around Zegras and whether or not he would be an Anaheim Duck. There was an interview on the Cam and Strick podcast with Pat Verbeek, their last episode. I highly recommend you go listen to it. Pat Verbeek talks about a lot of things regards to the Quenneville hire, the free agency, the Zegras, Gibson, all these issues that have been raised and talked about. Verbeek pretty much either squashes them or leaves you in complete mist, like in the shadows. But overall, you can kind of get the gist of where Pat Verbeek is going. And it's a really good interview. So I highly recommend listening to that so you can get that insight. But in that interview, he said it was unfortunate with how things went with Zegras, with his injuries and just how much time he lost and kind of the edge that he lost with his game after popping off at the beginning of his career. And he even admitted that Cronin was pretty harsh on Zegras. He was pretty tough on him, but it was because he wanted Zegras to really play a 200-foot game. He wanted him to be not just a flashy forward, but also a responsible and reliable forward. And Verbeek in that interview, he said that Zegras told him that he actually liked that Cronin did that. Like he said it, I don't know if he liked it, but he said he respected it. He needed it because there was no one in his career so far or in his hockey growing up that made him or held him accountable to that. It was the first time someone said, like, no, like you need to play this style and learn how to play in this area and how to be a defensive forward, how to also play smart and heads up. And Zegras took that, he appreciated it, he respected that, and it really showed. I think that he came back, especially after that injury and then his little weird suspension that he had. He came back and proved I was on that train of like Zegras needs to go. Like I thought it was done. I thought his attitude sucked. I thought there was just nothing going and it was going to be just a headache. But after he showed up after the injury and he healed, he recovered and he started to play again, he fed me my cake. Like he basically he fed me my lunch, whatever the saying is. He did it. I took it back like immediately. I was very, very impressed with his play this year, and especially towards the end of the season when they were on that little rush, or he was playing really well. He was hungry, and then he got put on with McTavish. Even before he was with McTavish, when he was up on that top line with Carlson and Killorn, he was playing very physical. He was playing heads up hockey. He was forechecking really well, back checking really well. Wasn't making too many of those crazy, like no look behind the back passes in danger areas. Did he do it in the offensive zone or when he knew he could get it up and through the neutral zone? Yes. Was he doing it in the defensive zone or at the blue line? Not nearly as much or noticeably. Like, I can't even think of a time where he made a pretty bad play like that this season. It seemed like like, if you've been watching the playoffs, there was a play that Mitch Marner made uh, in the playoffs where he's in his defensive zone, does this crazy like spinorama, no look backhand pass through the neutral zone, trying to hit Matthews, and it gets totally picked off. Florida comes back and scores off of it. That is the type of play that Cronin didn't want to see out of Zegras, and I did not see him making that type of play this year. It seemed like he really locked it down. He did start getting a little bit more comfortable. I think he had kind of the injury scaries, quote unquote, as I call them. Like, when you come back from an injury, you're kind of like still like, oh, am I gonna be all right? How's it gonna work? Like, you're kind of getting back into that rhythm. Once he brushed that off, it really started to come back to his game. He had some great assists at the end of the season, making some crazy spinorama passes, but it was in the offensive zone. It worked out well. Like, there were great times when he utilizes his offensive prowess with his crazy seam passes that he can make, the sauce passes, the between the legs, the no looks. Like, there are moments of his game that showed up in the offensive zone, but the responsibility was there. And now to take those pieces, the things that Cronin harped on him, if he can bundle that up and take it into the next season and not forget it, not, lose it. And then now with Quenneville, who's reported from players, from staff, that he is a player's coach and he loves working with skill guys to allow them to play in a structure that works for the team, but also allows them to have their skill sets on display. And Zegras is one of those guys. He's probably the most benefit. Well, how do I want to word this? He's the player that will benefit the most out of all the players on the Ducks by Quenneville's coaching techniques. And it's been reported that Zegras has said that he's excited to work with Quenneville and he looks forward to the type of player that, or type of coaching that he's going to bring, and that he can take what he's did this last season and carry it forward. And that's where it comes back around, where with the last trade deadline again, Verbeek, that would have been a perfect time if he wanted to move Zegras. He could have, but from the conversation and the interviews I've heard from Pat Verbeek, from the postseason to this Cam and Strick podcast to the when I went and heard him talk to the Orange Alliance members, the conversation doesn't sound like he wants to lose Zegras at all. It sounds like he really wants to let him build back up, and that, yes, it was unfortunate that he had these injuries and the issues that occurred, but now he's coming back stronger, he's coming back smarter, and it's just going to take off. And we're going to see that first couple of seasons of Zegras, they're going to show up again, but even more so. And it's going to be a more dominant player, a more like a Matt Barzal type player where he can turn games around, and it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a season that we're looking forward to. And I'm telling you, the trade rumors being squashed is the exact thing that needed to be done so that Zegras can feel comfortable, he can feel secure, wanted. Like, it sounds stupid, if it sounds soft to you, it there is a subconscious level where if you're sitting there worried about being traded or that you're not one on the team, it's going to affect your game. It's going to affect the way that things are going for you. And yes, the players know that it's a business, but if you have the confidence and the backing of your general manager and your coach that you're locked in and you're going to be here for the near future, it just helps you focus on succeeding with the team that you're with. And I said it before, he's part of this core group with Dostal and McTavish. It seems like those three are really getting along well. There's other players as well, but he had a great relationship with Gibson at the beginning of his career, and he still does. Like, I remember hearing him talk about them going to McDonald's late night. That's like their cheap meal and stuff. So there's a lot of fun that's still being had, and it's been building. And it seems like they really clicked and connected during that little wild card push at the end of the season. And now it's just going to get carried forward. They're going to have a coach that's going to make them want to come to the rink. Whatever the environment was in the locker room last season, that's gone now. Now it's going to be a whole new environment. There's going to be a lot of great things to look forward to, not only for us as fans watching, but the players themselves coming into this new season with a new light. And there's a lot of work to be done and there's a lot of proving to be done, but I have a lot of faith in this team, and I really see things going up from here. I don't see them taking a step back. Yes, teams are going to be a lot more aware of them now, but there's not going to be a downfall. And Trevor Zegras is going to be part of that. He's going to be in the core, and he's going to be a Duck for next season and for the foreseeable future. He is here to stay, ladies and gentlemen. And speaking of here to stay, the off season is here to stay. I know. I wish I could use my time machine and get us into the preseason already, but we're still here. We're stuck. We have to watch. We got to wait. We got to be patient, but we still got a lot to talk about. I mentioned this last episode, but I'm going to be starting to do a Monday mailbag episode. So please, if you have any questions or any topics or even hot takes that you want to share on the podcast and have me break down or give my 2 cents on, go to cartalksports.com. That's KJER talksports.com. And if you go /connect, or if you just look at the button, there's a button that'll say connect with Locked On Ducks. Please send me all of your questions, concerns, and topics that you want to talk about. And that just helps us grow the community and get connected as Ducks fans and followers. So please do that. And you're all my everydayers, so I really appreciate you. And thank you for making Locked On Anaheim Ducks your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On NHL Game Night. Every game, every night, until a Stanley Cup champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find NHL Game Night on the Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. And that's where you can find this podcast. Make sure you go like and subscribe to the YouTube. I'm Kyle Kjer. Be good out there.